What is up, everybody? Welcome to Masters Tuesday here as the week rolls on and we get closer to first tee. We're going to have tee times today coming out and also the second part of the Awesemo Golf Weekly Podcast series, the Fit in the Form Podcast. Also, a video edition, so if you're more of a visual person and you want to see my ugly mug for a couple of seconds before I bring up the PowerPoint that I do here, or the slides, whatever you want to call it. Also, another great way for you to view the content. So, again, this is going to be about 15 minutes if this is your first time joining me here on the Fit in the Form podcast. What I do is I go through the recent form, 11 weeks for the golfers in the field. I give you 5 years of course history, and then I look into what the golfers are actually doing to accomplish those finishes, specifically for on recent form. And we talk about strokes gained. If you're not familiar with strokes gained, as you guys know, every sport has their own statistical measures that they follow and that everybody believes in, and what they seem to be the most predictable in terms of outcome. Well, strokes gained is that for golf, so we'll go into it. Strokes gained, of course, is broken up into 4 different categories. But let's go ahead and start off, as we do each and every time on the Fit in the Form podcast, with a little recap of my first cut article, which kind of sets the picture on what type of golfers we are attempting to roster here this week. 67% of the fairways are hit here at Augusta National, which is a pretty high clip, to be honest with you. 65% of the greens, which is pretty low given the fairways in regulation percentage, and 55% scrambling when you do miss the green. So we know hitting the green at Augusta is paramount. And even when you're on the green, it doesn't even mean that you're going to one putt. So, of course, as I always start off, subscribe and like to our channel here on Awesemo.com on the YouTube channel to make sure you get informed on when these videos come out or when these podcasts come out. And typically, they're pretty on schedule, sometimes a little bit behind, based on my little guy, if he gets sleep the night before or whatever it may be. And I'm sure most of the parents listening understand what I'm saying there. And, of course, if you're not already an Awesemo Plus member, it's a great time to do so. We got an awesome promo going on for the Masters. Use promo code Augusta, and you're going to get 50% off your Awesemo Plus Platinum Weekly Pass, which is going to give you access to all of our sports here and all of our projections, tools, ownership, and so much more. So join us using promo code Augusta here this week. Okay, so let's start with recent form. We're going to talk about Dustin Johnson here for a quick minute. What a surprise there. In case you guys didn't see, I thought I'd make note. I just looked down at my shirt here. I'm wearing my Masters green. I'm wearing green each and every day for Masters this week. You guys probably don't care about that. Thought I'd make note. I wore it for a reason, so I have to bring it up, right? So, okay, speaking about recent form now. Dustin Johnson, boy, he has been on fire as of late. 4 top 10s. He, along with Ty Hatton, who also has 4. Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, and Sebastian Munoz have 3 top 10s in the last 11 weeks. Sebastian Munoz, certainly the most surprising name there. Also want to bring up Bernhard Langer also has 4 top 10s, but Bernhard, as you guys know, and if you don't know, he plays on the Champions Tour, so it's not something we can really look into, at least in my opinion. Switching over to top 25s, Langer again has 6, but not something we can look into. That's why I didn't even put it on there. Lee Westwood, though, he's got 6 as well. Missed cut last week at Houston, though, and he was part of my core, so tough beat for me there. Tony Finau, Ty Hatton, Cameron Smith, Hideki Matsuyama, and Lanto Griffin, they've all got 5. We switch over to our cuts made percentage, which, of course, top 50 golfers and ties will make the weekend here at Augusta. 32 golfers are 100%. That includes Sung J M and Sebastian Munoz. Im 8 for 8, Munoz 7 for 7. There are a ton of other golfers that are 6 for 6. Includes guys like Matt Wallace, Abe Answer, and Bernd Wiesberger. Now, when we look at the negative side, I just brought up Sebastian Munoz's, Sung J M, who's 8 for 8 in cuts made, but no top 10s in those 8 starts. Shane Lowry, he was 1 positional off last week, came in 11th. No top 10s for him. No top 10s for Adam Scott, or Kevin Kisner, or Justin Rose, or Francesco Molinari. But Molinari, only 2 starts in the past 11 weeks. In fact, only 2 starts in the past 9 months, and came in 15th last week, so trending in the right direction, but still shows up here. Okay, then we've got all of those guys I just mentioned are in the top 25, including Rose, Kisner, and Scott. Those that don't have a top 25 include Charles Howell, Kevin Na, Christian Bezuidenhout, Ricky Fowler, Adam Hadwin, Matt Kuchar, Tiger Woods, and Danny Willett. A couple of Masters champions there on the last 2. And in the miscut department, it has been a struggle for Henrik Stenson and Jimmy Walker as of late. Stenson is 1 of 6, missing 5 cuts. Walker is 1 of 5, missing 4 cuts. While Danny Willett and Jordan Spieth, again, 2 Masters champions, have missed 3 cuts each. Okay, here's the graphic. If you guys aren't familiar with my recent form or Fit and Form article that accompanies this Fit and Form podcast, this is some of the chart that I get, part of the chart that I give away. Of course, I've got other things on there like their actual results, but a really good chart just to see what golfers are performing the best over the last little bit. I mentioned a bunch of golfers in the 3 top 10 range, a bunch of golfers with 2 though as well: DeChambeau, Watson, Matsuyama, Poulter, Kokrak, Griffin, Fitzpatrick, Wolf, Weir, on the Champions Tour that is, Cantlay and Reed, couple of Patricks, Phil Mickelson, 2 wins on the Champion Tour, Rory McIlroy, Shugo Imahara, Tommy Fleetwood, Tony Finau, and Vijay Singh. Okay, let's go over to course history here at Augusta National since 2015. That is my barometer. That's just what I do, what I've been doing. So I'm going to continue to do it. I think 5 years is important. Sure, I could go back to 2013 and talk about Jordan Spieth for a couple of minutes, but I'm not going to do that. So let's go top 10s. Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson, the only 2 golfers with 4 in the past 5 years. Spieth, Rose, and Paul Casey, all playing terrible golf right now, or at least based on their baseline. They all have 3. Top 25s, McIlroy and Spieth are the only 2 that are 5 for 5. Dustin Johnson is 4 for 4, of course, missing that 1 year due to falling down some stairs. Tony Finau is 2 for 2. In fact, Tony Finau is 2 for 2 in top 10s as well here at Augusta. Okay, cuts made. Jason Day, Hideki Matsuyama, Matt Kuchar, Louis Oosthuizen, Adam Scott, Jimmy Walker, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy are all 5 for 5 in making a paycheck here at Augusta in the last 5 years. Certainly interesting to know Jimmy Walker, one of those guys. Doesn't matter how bad he's playing, he seems to find a weekend here at Augusta. I think that exemption might be running up, though, here for Jimmy Walker. A couple of years. Maybe he's got another year or 2 on that PGA Championship win. All right, switching over to the negative. I just mentioned Louis Oosthuizen and Jimmy Walker, right? Yep. 5 for 5 in cuts made, but no top 10s. So maybe look at them for cash lineups here for DFS purposes this week. Justin Thomas and Kevin Kisner, also 2 guys that have played pretty well over the past couple of years, but no top 10s at Augusta. How about no top 25s now? I should say no top 10s since 2015, although I don't think Thomas or Kisner have a start before 2015 anyway. All right, next, top 25s. How about this? Shane Lowry, Gary Woodland, and Ty Hatton have no top 25s. That's pretty shocking. 3 very good golfers, an Open champion, a U.S. Open champion, and, of course, a top 10 ranked player in the world there on those 3 guys. So very interesting. You can go one step further on Lowry and Woodland. They're both 1 of 4 in making the weekend, let alone into the top 25 or 10. So 2 guys that really struggle at Augusta. 2 other Masters champion, Charles Schwartzel and Danny Willett, are 2 for their last 5. So trending certainly in the wrong direction. Okay, here's the graphic that is also part of the Fit and the Form article that you can, of course, check out for free on awesemo.com/PGA. That'll take you right into it. I mentioned the guys that have 3 or more top 10s. How about a couple of guys that have 2? Jason Day, he's got 2 in the last 5 years. Tony Finau is 2 for 2. Ricky Fowler, he's got 4 top 25s as well in 5 chances played. Hideki Matsuyama in that same thing as well. Fowler, though, missed 1 cut. Matsuyama, 2 top 10s. Rahm, 2 top 10s. Working off of back-to-back top 10s, actually, for John Rahm. All right, now let's switch over to strokes gained to see how the golfers have been getting it done and see if anybody in the world will be able to compete with Bryson DeChambeau this week. So we take a look at DeChambeau's victory at the U.S. Open, where he gained 6 strokes on the field. The only person that's close to that is Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson, 6 strokes gained on the field again at the Northern Trust, would have actually beaten Bryson DeChambeau's max strokes gained total over the past 10 weeks. Just wanted to bring that up just wanted to showcase the fact that, hey, listen, Bryson's, playing great and certainly the favorite this week, but Dustin Johnson, if he plays his best that he's played over the past 10 weeks, he can keep up with him, if not beat him. Very close, don't get me wrong, but it can happen. Now when we switch over to the data set, and now when I say the data set, of course, if you want to learn more about this strokes gained information, check out my strokes gained analysis article where I break down exactly what strokes gained is and how the golfers are doing it. But what I'm going to tell you about here on strokes gained total, which takes all 4 parts of the strokes gained categories or whatever you want to call them and combines them. And in this data set, there's only 4 golfers that have gained at least 2 strokes or more in 10 or more starts. Bryson DeChambeau's done it in 12. Justin Thomas and Webb Simpson's done it in 11, and Patrick Reed in 10. Now, when we switch over to consistency, or in terms of a percentage of starts where a golfer ends up with 1.5 strokes total gained against the field. Now, how I come up with these numbers, let's just take it aside real quick. 2 total strokes gained is about a top 12 and above, and 1.5 strokes is about a top 20 and above. So that's why I picked those numbers out, just for interesting purposes, for you guys can understand why I did it. Anyways, okay, so 6 golfers have done this in 50% or more of their starts, gaining a stroke and a half total. We've got Simpson, DeChambeau, and Thomas, who I've already mentioned, and then Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson, and Xander Schauffele. No surprise to see those 3 guys joining them. Okay, now we go over to tee to green here. That just is taking out strokes gained putting. Justin Thomas and Hideki Matsuyama have been able to play the best from tee to green, gaining at least 1.75 strokes or more 12 times. Bryson DeChambeau and Collin Morikawa have each done it 10 times. Now, when you want to look at consistency, so that's gaining at least 1 stroke tee to green in 50% or more of their starts, only 4 golfers: Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson, and Hideki Matsuyama. Okay, now let's go to strokes gained off the tee. But before we do, go ahead and smash that like button for me and subscribe here. Of course, it helps us keep the lights on and make sure we know that you like the content that you're seeing. Okay, so now we're going to go to strokes gained off the tee. And obviously, you see in my notes there, Cameron Champ, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy. The top 3 golfers, certainly in this field off the tee. No doubt about it. Matt Wolff could certainly climb up there too. But Cameron Champ and Bryson DeChambeau have the most upside of anyone in the field. They've gained over a stroke 10 times in the data set, the only golfers to do so. However, neither of them are even close to as good as Rory McIlroy in terms of consistency, which is gaining a half a stroke or more off the tee. He's done it in 86% of his starts. The next best comes from Jon Rahm at 70, while Champ and DeChambeau come in at 70 and 71%. Okay, now we go over to strokes gained on the approach, which at Augusta, yes, it is a second shot golf course, but you got to get set up by your off the tee game. So these next few golfers, if they get hot off the tee, their iron game could give them a chance to win here this week. And that top honor, that goes to Collin Morikawa. Since coming out of the pro scene, he's shown us he's probably one of the best in the world when he's on. That's the key. When he's off, not really so much. Morikawa's gained over a stroke on the approach 10 times. In fact, he's done it 12, actually. The next closest is Justin Thomas and Webb Simpson. They've each done it 9 times. Now, why I mentioned it's feast or famine a little bit with Collin Morikawa on the approaches is Thomas is more consistent. Thomas has gained at least a half a stroke in 73% of his starts, whereas Morikawa and Corey Connors are the only 2 to at least gain over 50, and Morikawa was somewhere in the 58% of his starts. So, as you can see, it's feast or famine with him. When he's on, he's one of the best, if not the best. And when he's not, Justin Thomas certainly seems to be a bit more consistent. Now, over the last little bit, when we take a look at strokes gained on the approach, actually, I'm going to back up one slide for a second here. I actually didn't go over recent off-the-tee game. Sergio Garcia, Masters champ, he's not in the field anymore. But what I did want to bring up is Scottie Scheffler. He has been incredible off the tee these last couple of weeks, especially last week. He was in the top 10 in driving accuracy and distance, a rare feat, and showing there that he gained about almost 1.65 leading the field. So why I bring that up is if he could find an iron game here this week, he's certainly dangerous. We've seen him compete in a major at the PGA Championship at Memorial Park there. Harding Park, not Memorial Park. Harding Park out in San Francisco. Certainly the Masters is quite a bit different test, but Scottie Scheffler, good putter when he's hot, and certainly hot off the tee right now. Irons are struggling, so wanted to bring that up. Though other golfers that you can see up here, Jason Day, he's been good off the tee recently. Cam Champ, obviously. Tyler Duncan, maybe a name to take a look at. Morikawa and Cantlay both around 1 strokes gained off the tee in the last 11 weeks. Okay, now to the strokes gained on the approach. I got a baseline somewhere of like a stroke gained. Anybody that's done above that has beaten the field. But Dustin Johnson, his 3 strokes gained on the approach, super impressive. If he does that again this week, I mean, obviously, it kind of goes without saying. I like him to win. Other guys that have done well, Ty Hatton, man, he got hot, getting almost 2.5 strokes. Bryson DeChambeau's there. Matt Wolff is there. Ches Reavie, Tony Finau. Scotty Scheffler again is up there. Patrick Cantlay up there. Hey, even Jordan Spieth popped over a stroke for a couple of rounds there. Matt Fitzpatrick also there. Francesco Molinari also towards the back end of it as well. Okay, let's go to strokes gained around the green. And this category, maybe I typically wouldn't spend that much time on, but Augusta, I already mentioned, you're going to miss about 1/3 of your greens. So it's those guys that can mitigate the damage when they do miss the green, make pars, scramble for pars that are going to have a chance to win. And nobody's been better in that category in gaining strokes gained around the green than Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, Dylan Fratelli, and Byung-Hyun An. More so on Hideki Matsuyama. Last week, honestly, when he missed the green, I almost felt like he had a better chance to hole it than he did on the green. Granted, he did end up gaining over a stroke putting. Still, he was superb, taking dead aim on almost every shot, landing it exactly where he wanted to. So, Hideki Matsuyama certainly coming in with good form around the green. Dylan Fratelli, Byung-Hyun An, Jordan Spieth also there. Okay, now the very important but last category is strokes gained putting. Strokes gained putting, obviously, at this golf course, when you look at the most recent winners that include Reed, Spieth, Willett, not really great off the tee. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be great off the tee and win this tournament. You certainly can, and I do think that we will see it this year. But you got to have a putter to go with it. Some of the golfers that have gotten hot in the data set include Xander Schauffele, Brendan Todd, Lanto Griffin, Webb Simpson, Andrew Putnam, and Billy Horschel. Each of them has gained over a stroke and a quarter 6 times. Believe it or not, Jordan Spieth is not here in this category. If people are thinking that I'm going to say him, he's not. He's only gained it 4 times in the last 47 tournament weeks. Now, when we look at the last 10 weeks, Jason Kokrak, man, anytime a golfer like Jason Kokrak gains 2.5 strokes putting, he is bound to come in the top 2 or 3 in the event. His ball striking has been consistently good for a while. Zach Johnson, he found his putting stroke. A couple of other guys with no surprise up there. JT Poston finding it. Abe Answer has found it once or twice. Tommy Fleetwood, that's about all he's done recently is putt. Of course, we got Webb Simpson up there. Brooks Koepka last week, very good putter. That's typically a really good sign for him. Keep an eye out for that here coming this week. Patrick Reed also there. Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, and Patrick Cantlay and Molinari check in at the end of it. Okay, so before I get on out of here, for the Fit in the Form podcast, again, I want to make everybody aware that this is the second of 3 of our weekly golf podcast series. The next one I'll come out with is tomorrow morning, the Against the Green, which focuses primarily on ownership. And not to give you a little preview, but this little guy here, well, I'm a little lower, sorry. I'm picking up the wrong side. Well, I'm wearing Tigger on my shirt. Oh, there you go. There you can see him a little bit there. Tigger on my shirt for Tiger Woods. And I believe he's going to be the main focus of that article this week. Or maybe not the main focus, but one of them at $9,100. I suspect not many people, even though he's the biggest name in golf still, I suspect not many gamers are going to roster him this week, given the fact that he has not had a good start in quite some time. So check that out tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. That will be Against the Grain. And, of course, Ben Raz and I are going to talk about everything, the withdrawals, the weather, the waves, everything tomorrow evening, 8:30, live before lock on the Awesemo YouTube channel. That'll take you up until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Get an 8 hours of sleep, wake up, and check out the ceremonial first tee on Thursday morning. Got a good set of golfers joining Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and, of course, Lee Eldrick. So it should be really fun. It should be a great week. I'm really excited about it. So about 20 minutes into this one, we will wrap it up and say thank you, and we will see you on the other side, everybody. Cheers.